Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Family Feud. It is so great to have you guys here. We're going to have such a fun session now. I know it's quite far in the afternoon, so we're going to liven it up, but I'm going to need your participation. I need you to be cheering and clapping and encouraging these fine people to come along. Okay, so before we get started, I'm going to ask the teams just to introduce themselves. Travel team, please tell us your name and where you're from.
Travel team. Number 1 team. I'm Jennifer from Moderna in Atlanta, Georgia.
Hi, I'm Steph. Travel team is number 1 from Kansas City.
Hi, I'm Sabrina from Chicago. Woo!
From the actual winning team.
Yeah.
I'm Emma from Fort Worth.
I'm Wendy from Charlotte.
I'm Kat from Durham.
Big round of applause for these guys. These are actual audience members who have volunteered for this. This session is a live game. It's not scripted at all, okay? They do not know what questions are coming up, but let's... So, these two families here are essential for well-run meetings and events for an organization. But sometimes they're working in silos, aren't they? For a long time now, the industry has been talking about convergence. But if we're being honest, it's been a little less than transformative. So today, we're going to play a little game, find out what some of the benefits might be of these teams working more closely together. And then we're going to, after the game, we're going to have a little interview with an industry leader to hear what the journey that she has been on. So let's start with round 1. Before we ask the question, we're going to just remind ourselves of the rules of Family Feud. Okay? So, for today, I'm going to ask a question, and the team that buzzes in first and gives an answer that's on the board will then play the round. And then we've got 3 rounds to play, and we're going to see which team gets the most points at the end. If anyone gives an answer that's not on the board, remember, it's not a wrong answer, it's just not part of our survey. Or if they take too long to answer, you're going to hear this noise. Okay, right, round 1. We asked 100 travel managers and meeting planners to name something found in both a travel policy and a defined meetings management policy. Oh, I think travel just got it there, just by a second.
How you book your travel or how you book your meetings?
Let's see if...
How you book your travel, how you book your meetings.
Oh. Yeah. Booking procedures. Woo. Okay, so Team Travel is going to play this round. Next down. What do you think?
I'm going to say preferred vendors.
Let's take a look. Anything to do with vendors? Preferred vendors. Sabrina.
My favorites, the approval process.
Approvals. There's got to be approvals there somewhere. There it is. Well done. Okay. So we're going to keep going round to see what answers we can get. So, Jen, what do you think is next up? Oh, too long, I'm afraid. Steph, what do you think?
I'm going to say something with policy.
Oh, too slow, I'm afraid. Sabrina, what would you like? And while you're thinking about that, meetings team, start to confer, because you might be able to get to stakeholders, people using it, and employees. Let's see if any stakeholders on there. We don't have, I mean, it's a good answer, it's just not on the board. So, meetings team, what do you think is found in both travel and meetings policy?
Forms of payment.
Payment terms or payment processes. Is it up there? It's not. Okay, so word on travel, you win. and the points will go to you. But now let's see, as I reveal the answers, want the audience to say them in unison, just like the show. So, number 1. Expense guidelines. Number 5. Safety. Number 6. Cancel and change policies. Number 7. And the last one. Sustainability. Okay. So we're going to add the points to the travel team. Okay. 3, 4. Yep. Hold on. We will, don't worry, we are going to adjust those points. And we can adjust the scores.
It's good. Just leave it. We're happy.
If we hit the adjust scores button on the bottom, we can then correct that score. And after that, we'll get going on. Oh. There we go. Okay, so now let's move to round 2. Whoa. Okay, fingers on buzzers. We asked 100 travel managers and meeting planners to name the top benefits of combining travel and meetings management into one team. Meetings.
Efficiency.
Efficiency, let's see. Of course, number 1, improved efficiencies. So, meetings. Go for it, Kat. What's your answer?
Cost savings?
Cost savings. Let's see if it's on the board. There we go. Emma, what's your answer?
Data.
Data or technology? Okay. Now, back to you, Kat. See if you can do it. Oh, sorry, Sabrina, I apologize.
That's okay, I can be Sabrina. I'm fine.
I have. The stage is quite big today, and the name badges are quite small.
It's my other personality.
Go ahead, Wendy.
What was the question again? Benefits.
Benefits. Oh, you got to be quick, I'm afraid. Oh. Okay, Kat.
Consistency.
Consistency. Let's take a look if it's on the board. Consistent policies. Close enough. Okay. We'll keep going until you run out of lives. So we've got one more answer to find. What do you think it might be? Oh, too slow, I'm afraid. One more buzz.
Oh, one more buzz? Oh, flexibility.
Flexibility. Let's see if it's up there. Yeah. There we go. Okay, so we are going to add those scores to the meetings team. And let's see what it's done to the scores now. There we go. Okay. So one more round to play. Meetings are in the lead, but it's all to play for. There's 100 points up for grabs. This could seal the deal. So, round 3. We asked 100 travel managers and meeting planners to name the... Oh, give me 1 second. There we go. We asked 100 travel managers and meeting planners to name the top considerations when combining travel and meetings management into one team. Just travel.
My favorite answer, stakeholder adoption.
There we go.
I love stakeholders.
Okay. There might be some coaching going on here, I think.
We didn't know the questions ahead of time. Data and analytics.
Data analytics, let's see. Data sharing, close enough. Okay, good answer, good answer. Go for it, Steph.
I'm going to say everybody stays within policy lane.
Something about policies.
Yes.
Oh, policies, there we go.
Cost savings?
Cost savings.
Cost savings?
Well, it's a consideration, so it might be up there. Let's see if cost savings, revenue opportunities. I think
We'll take it.
I think we'll give that. There we go. Who's next?
Me. Supplier vendor management.
Let's see if suppliers are up there. Supplier alignment, there you go.
Close enough.
Reporting, that there's reporting consolidation.
Something about reporting. So, I mean, you've got to get those reports somehow. It's not up there, I'm afraid. Okay, next up.
I'm going to say compliance.
Compliance. Compliance with regulations or policies or driving compliance.
What was that? I think our tech stack, technology.
Technology.
Yeah.
There we go. Well done. There you go, travel. Just for the record, they can see what you can see up there. Just so you know. There's no helpful hints down here, just so you know. Okay, I think, let's give the slide a quick click in the middle. Oh, give us 1 second. We're having a few technical issues here, but it is a live show, so we're going to plow through. Wait, there we go. Travel has won. So please give a big round of applause to our teams. Some of them didn't know they were doing this until just 10 minutes ago. And so, and please see me afterwards. I have a little something for all of you. And if you guys could just hold on 2 moments, we're going to have a very quick reset. And then I'm going to speak to Jennifer, and we're going to hear a little bit more about the journey that she has been on. So give me 2 seconds. Wait, hey Jen, speak them up. Wait. No. I'm going to stay there. And then we're going to be in front. Oh. There we go. I think we're about ready. Okay. So there are bigger stages in this conference center, and we didn't get lucky on this one. So, yeah. Okay. First of all, look, it's so great to have you here, Jen. You know, we've been talking about this topic for a long time now. You know, we've just seen some of the benefits and considerations in, you know, talking about the convergence of traveler meetings, bringing these two teams to work closer together. You know, it's quite a broad topic and potentially a long journey. You know, if you're all dealing with the policies of your travel and your meetings, trying to work out how to get consistent policies between the two might take a while. So can you just tell us a little bit more about yourself, first of all, and also what role you're in today?
Great. Is my mic okay? Okay. So I'm Jennifer Steinke. I'm the Director of Travel Meetings and Fleet at Moderna. I've been there 3 years. This is a fairly new program for Moderna as we came out of COVID and trying to get everything together, right? So we have been on this journey for this full 3 years since I got there. I always felt that there was value in bringing those two teams together. Now, I'm probably luckier than some of you in the audience because I own both of them, so it's easier. I can convince my other personalities that it's the right thing to do. So that always helps. But yeah, so we've been on this journey for a while, and we're getting there, and it gets better all the time.
Excellent, really good to hear. So we obviously saw on one of the rounds a list of some of the benefits that could be achieved by bringing the two teams together. But could you sort of maybe talk about the underlying reason why you decided to start on this journey in the first place?
I think it's a couple things really. I've always been a firm believer that there is so much synergy between travel and meetings. Like, you guys didn't get here unless you live here, right? You on any other way than either probably flying, right? So you have a travel component to what you're doing, and you're booking hotels, and then you have travel policies around what you can expense and all of those things. And then on the flip side, you have all these meeting considerations and stuff, and inclusions and what's not included, and how you're managing all that. So for me, when I look at it through the lens of the traveler experience, the attendee experience, that convergence is super important, because the more seamless we can make it, the better it is for that experience, right? And it's always been so sideload, and I could never understand that. Like, why is travel over here like, yeah, don't touch my stuff? I mean, it's like, oh, don't touch my stuff. And you're like, what? Well, let's be partners, right? So yeah. I think we're starting to see that aside from the attendee experience, when we bring those synergies together, things like cost savings, right? Payments, leveraging your credit card programs, all these different things that you can do to make the whole process and your travel and meetings program better for both sides of the fence.
Absolutely. But I'm sure there's been some challenges along the way. Can you tell us about some of the tougher times and some of the challenges, and more importantly, how did you overcome some of those as you worked through them?
You know, for us, because both the travel and the meetings programs were fairly new to the organization, I mean, they had like some loosely knit things going on. To be able to sell to stakeholders the benefits of this was probably one of the biggest challenges. But once you build that roadmap and show the efficiencies and the cost savings, how you can leverage your supplier relationships, they get brought on board, which is great at like an executive level. They can see the vision. And then when you get to maybe an admin, let's say, that likes that control, likes the glory, likes all the love she gets when she plans these great events, then you start to get a little resistance, because they're like, what? Who are you? No, don't touch my meetings, right? So we've had to do a lot of, like, Wendy and I call it love notes, hand-holding, like just bringing in the joy that we can give them. And we really overcame a lot of that resistance by proving ourselves. Like, give us a try. Let us show you how much more your meetings can be run efficiently. Like, obviously, we're Cvent customers. You don't have to be sending out calendar invites to everybody. You don't have to be doing these things. We can help you communicate and create a better experience, and that's going to make you look better. Oh, and when you need to save money, yeah, we're here to help you do that too. So I think it's working. It's not 100%. Some people still, I'm going to call that hotel in Kennebunkport and book my own rooms, you know.
Yeah. On the board, when one of the answers we had was revenue generation. Do you have anything to add to that? Is that more than just cost savings?
Absolutely. So one of the things that we benefit from is we do all of our own sourcing internally, right? For all of our internal meetings. We do have some external partners for some of our external stuff, but one of the requirements is that all the commissions from the hotels and stuff are paid through our TMC. So that offsets the cost of our travel and meetings program. So we absolutely are very, very extremely focused on what kind of revenue can we generate from these different programs, and how do we bring that back into the organization. So it's cost savings and revenue at the same time for us.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, so very soon we're going to go out to an audience Q&A, and you guys can either use the app to ask the questions if you want to navigate to the session and pop it in there. I think we might also have a mic that we can hold up if we want to stand up and ask a live question. We we're going to have a lot of time for Q&A. We originally did have 2 speakers that we were going to talk to today. One, fortunately, is unwell, so we wish her a speedy recovery. But before we go to Q&A, is there one piece of advice that you'd give the audience today?
Oh, there's so many pieces of advice. I think that's my one piece of advice is multifaceted. So does that still count as one piece of advice? I guess maybe. First of all, don't be afraid. Like, reach out across the aisle to whoever's running your travel and/or meetings programs and say, listen, we can form an amazing partnership. And you're not going to lose whatever your fear might be, control, this, that, whatever it is, right? You're not going to lose that. What you're going to do is only gain on the upside, right? So when we think about getting a task from like our C-suite of saying, Jennifer, I want you to give us a list of all the meetings that you've put together, how much they were spent on those meetings, who attended those meetings, from where, how much of those travel costs cost you. In a siloed environment, that is nearly impossible. Mm-hmm. Because then you're gonna figure, who went, trust me. Yeah. Before we integrated some travel stuff with Cvent, I was literally like pulling down names and trying to find reports of who went to that city and how much did it cost. It was like a nightmare. So, building those integrations and not working siloed is super, super helpful, I think, to kind of combat those challenges. And don't take no for an answer on the first time. I think you just got to chip away at it. There's a business case there that can benefit everyone in the organization. Yeah.
Just an interesting fact, just before we jump to Q&A, we're just about to publish our 2025 Travel Manager Report, and this year it's a global report. And we always ask the travel managers, are you also involved in meetings sourcing or meetings management? This year, 91% of them have said yes, in some way or another, I am also involved in meeting sourcing. And so I think it's really interesting. It'll be really interesting to actually find out how many of them actually have a sort of an integrated policy, or are they just getting involved across 2 different places, but not actually getting the efficiencies of maybe bringing those policies and procedures and processes all together at the same time.
I think one of the biggest benefits, the other benefit when you think about like when travel managers say, are you involved in sourcing and stuff? And yeah, they might be, and maybe it's on the periphery. But what we found is by leveraging our preferred suppliers that we, use for transient business, and use those same suppliers for meetings and stuff, that helps from a transient sourcing perspective, where I can say, listen, I'm not just giving you 5,000 room nights, right, of, transient travel business. I'm also giving you either the property or the brand, and I always sell it at a brand level because I think that is just not utilized nearly as much, because my brand worth at certain chains is a lot, right? So when I have 50% of my transient travel going to one brand, and another 30 going to another brand, I'm looking at that holistically. Yeah. So I'm using that number and I'm leveraging that spend so that I can drive down my transient costs and get better concessions and different things on my meetings. So I work it both ways.
Yeah, okay. Sounds like an ideal situation.
It is.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're gonna see if there's any questions and answers. So I'm gonna grab the app. While we do that, if there's anyone in the room, I know Cindy has a mic, so throw your hand up while I have a quick look, see if there's any questions in the app.
Can I poll the audience?
Yeah. Let's do a quick show of hands.
Since we're playing games. By a show of hands, for those of you that are in the room, how many of you have combined travel and meeting programs? There's a few. How many of you wish you did? Okay, it's about the same amount. I'd like to hear the challenges that they face. Anyone want to share the challenges you face if you're just beginning the journey? Yes,
yeah.
Up here.
If we just wait for the mic so we can.
I work for a healthcare staffing firm, and so we have a large amount of transient travel that far supersedes our group business. And so there's confusion over who should do what and kind of why the events world needs to be involved with travel. We work really well together, But there's also confusion about reporting structure. Like, I'm curious to know where you report up through your organization. Is it through marketing? Is it through operations?
No, we report up to finance. So I report to our CPO, and our CPO reports to our CFO.
Yeah.
So I'm lucky. I have a direct line to the C-suite. That helps.
Yeah.
And when you start talking numbers and all of that, that certainly helps your business case. So if anybody's on the journey and they're trying to get their programs like stood up and that convergence there, like the numbers talk, especially if you're talking to finance people. We have a segment of our business where we're doing, because obviously we're a healthcare company, a biotech, where we have like our trade shows and congresses where our commercial stuff, and that sits under marketing. So one of the things we're doing now is we're wiggling our way into that space too, by working on preferred suppliers for them, for their planning, and doing different things like that, because we realize that is spend that directly relates to everything that we're doing. These people are attending those congresses and things like that. So we're working on that as sort of the last pillar of what we want to integrate, at least at a Cvent level, and at least at a policy payment level, things like that. And speaking of payments, a piece of advice I will give everybody. This has been super successful. When we are trying to get people on board, like we were talking about earlier, like what were the challenges like with EAs or other people that are working on these meetings, in order to bring them on board, we do a few key things. One, we require that all the meetings are registered in Cvent. We require that we do the sourcing and contracting, and we give them the way they're going to pay. So we use virtual cards for payment. So they can't just go and use their T&E card and then expense it in our expense system anymore. They have to use the virtual card. So they have to enter through Cvent. So that has certainly helped with compliance. So you're not going to get to pay for your meeting unless you go in through the right door. Yep. So that's been super successful. So if you haven't tried that, that's an absolutely incredible way to get people on board. And then you sell yourself, right? And you sell the joy that you bring to them.
Yeah. Okay, so we got a question here. What KPIs do you track to measure the success of travel and meeting coordination?
We are very keenly focused right now on cost savings. So a lot of our metrics and KPIs are really about cost savings. So we're very focused on like, what are we negotiating? How are we doing that? How does it align? How do we drive our travel costs down? How do we do, and I'll give all the grace to Wendy on my team, who is on team meetings. She is tasked with a big task about a lot of those, financial KPIs. What we're now doing is also encouraging our meeting, our stakeholders to say, what is the purpose of your meeting? Why are you having this meeting? What are you trying to get out of that meeting? What is your ROI, right? And what do you want to measure in that meeting? So we do a big onboarding program. We have net promoter scores within that program from the attendees' perspective. So, it's still what I would call a work in progress, but it's definitely getting better, and using, I know we're at Cvent conference, so I guess I can tell Cvent's capabilities, right?
Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah.
So like we're using surveys, right? We're using reporting and different things like that to help enhance what we can actually deliver and say, yeah, we are doing the right things by the organization. And I'll tell you, we have a lot of admins that have come around. Like, oh, we love this. This is so great. Let's work for me.
Okay. Okay, next question is, what sustainable travel and meeting practices have you successfully implemented?
None.
Is that?
Okay, not exactly none.
Have you implemented some that have been not successful, or?
That would be none.
Okay.
No, so we do on the travel side of things. So when we look at our sustainability initiatives and our ESG, and we try to be net zero by 2030, we have all those initiatives. This spend is a very, very small percent of our overall spend when it comes to like CO2 emissions and stuff. So we track it. We don't do the best job on meetings, and I think a lot of that is because it's super complex in the hotel world, trying to determine what's going on with CO2. You got a resort over here that's 36 holes, watering golf course, and then you got the courtyard, over here. So you've got two different vast worlds. So we haven't really tapped into that a lot. Where we are doing good things and good work is on site at the meetings. no longer water bottles. Like I banned plastic water bottles. Like it's water machines like you see out here. Why do we have to print things? Let's put it in the app. You don't need paper everywhere. Different sustainability practices like that. And also I'm super, super focused on no food waste. Like sometimes you see those food and beverage minimums and you're like, holy crap, I'm gonna spend $75,000. Everybody eat like kings, And I'm like, well, there it all went in the garbage, and I hate that. So we're looking at those types of things where we can make little bits of impact in that area, and then we track it on the travel side from a CO2 perspective.
Okay, that's good. Do you have a Master Awards account for signing contracts? And if so, how does your program use those points?
We don't right now.
Okay.
But we are going to. We've just been too busy to sign up. Isn't it just Wendy and I? We did over 200 plus meetings last year alone, just the two of us. So we're looking at about 80 million in spend between travel and meetings.
Wow.
Just the two of us. 4,000 travelers.
You've justified your position.
You're lucky we're here. Let's be honest. Like getting out of the work week for this time, we're all like, check our emails. It's crazy. So we're busy.
Well, I'm pleased you're here. I think we all are. Okay, how do you leverage Cvent to book air travel as a third-party company? Which integrations do you recommend?
So we have the GDS integration. So anyone that books travel, right? If they have. And we haven't perfected this yet, just because we have to make some online booking tool changes. But the ideal state is that we would upload the meetings that we have on the books, and people would select those meetings if they're attending, and then the travel would flow. Fine, the meeting ID would be there, it'd be all great. We're not quite there yet. We just got the GDS integration up and running, so now we can go into the meeting, and then Cvent does the matching of the attendees, and then their travel bookings. It's like special, like PNR matching. Yes, that's what it's called. Thank you.
From the travel world.
That's PNR matching. So it matches up the PNRs, and then we're able to see that.
Okay.
There. We're not doing the Shell PNR or anything like that. We just decided that was just too complicated, so we did the other thing.
So what tool are you using for the travelers to book?
So they're using Concur or our travel management company right now.
Okay. Do you recommend a more organic program, reaching out to stakeholders and get them to try, or a mandate program where they have to use the TMC?
You mean our meetings company, the travel management company, or for travel it's mandated. For meetings it's kind of mandated.
Okay. Yeah.
Means that it's mandated, but there's rogue spend. So like they have to do it, but then they don't. So.
And then
they can't get their PO approved because they didn't go through us. So they can't. So we've cut off the payment. So like our contracts team, if someone puts a meetings contract through, they immediately ping me and like, do you know about this? No, let me go talk to them. And then we send love notes. Or they get the PO, they're trying to get a PO put through and they're like, oh, this has to go to Jennifer for approval. Now I'm nice, so I give them like a one-time exception. And then I educate them on how they need to do it right. And then I tell them that the C-suite, our executive committee, is looking at it. And we want to make sure that they're adequately represented.
How long did it take the majority of people to sort of get onto this?
Probably 12 months.
Okay.
It took us, so we started our Cvent journey, we went live in August of 23. It took us until January of 24 to get our act together internally, just us. And then we launched our new policy in January of 24. And it took us all of last year. I feel like we're in a good place right now. Mm-hmm. I think we've got some global stuff that we need to address, but most people adhere pretty well.
Okay. How do you align corporate travel policies with event planning goals, especially when they conflict?
Well, I own both policies, so they don't conflict. I wrote them so they didn't do that. That made my life easier. No, I mean, I can see that there would be challenges if you weren't in a unique position like I am, right? So I think you just have to make sure you're partnering and understanding, like, what does that look like? Like, there's a lot of things, if you think about, like, an attendee experience. So what I've learned, and I'll give you a good example, is when we have a lot of people traveling to one event, there's just this organic happy hour experience that happens every night. Like, let's just meet in the bar, right? And then they're like, oh, I want to submit my $1,000 alcohol bill for that organic conversation that I was having with my colleagues that I talk to every day, right? So I'm like, well, that's interesting. So we've segmented out, we've been giving them more guidelines. Like, if you're going to be dining or entertaining with your own colleagues, like, stick it to $75 a person at the most, you know? So we're aligning those two policies like that so that they just don't go like I literally at a meeting had to go down to the bar and move the bar tabs that were happening onto the master bill because I was like, oh my God, and this isn't getting through anywhere. Like, I'm gonna have to hide this, like, in this whole other bill. Like, it was bad. I was like, oh, there goes $5,000. Like, it was like, I was like, I'll just put it into the meeting budget. Like, I literally, because I was like, there's no way this is gonna get approved.
Excellent.
Because it was against my policy.
There's one question from me about how we executed this. So Dawn, maybe come and see me at the end, and I can explain it's a very, very complicated PowerPoint presentation with and it is run on PowerPoint with a lot of coding and macros. So I think that's it for Q&A right now on the app. So thank you all for being here. Thank you, Jen.
Thank you.
One more thing. Before we do go, and you've been asked this a million times already, but it's important for this session. If we go to the next slide, can you all do me a favor and just jump on the survey and actually let them know what you thought of this session? Do you want to see more exciting sessions like this, or more?
What do you think of Tim's jacket? Round of applause for Tim's jacket.
It is Disco Rodeo tonight, so
yes, you are ready.
Ready for that. So, but. All seriousness, thank you so much, Jen.
Thank you, Tim,
it's
for
been
having
a pleasure.
me.
And
Thanks
thank you all for playing
families.
Family Feud. Thank you.
Thank you.